ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ today we have gathered today for a simple conversation of our Guru and Shabad Guru and Guru Granth Sahib Ji and Guru is the central focus of the lives of our Sikhs, my life, your lives, and we're here to have a conversation about what exactly is Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani, how it is expressed, how it is sung, and how we connect to it. Sikhi is a prem di kahani, it's a prem di rah, jo to prem kiran ka chao sir tar tali kari meri aao, it marg pair trijay sir dijay kan na kijay. And with that theme, our spiritual masters, our gurus, our Patna Sahiban, everybody who's been an author involved in the Guru Granth Sahib Ji's preparation has been expressing just one thing, the truest form of love. This form of love is expressed in rags and they are arranged in a certain way in Gurwani. And we are here today to explore how this form of rag, how this expression of love is communicated, how it is taught, how it is shared amongst the community and everybody around the world. I think it's important to bear in mind that expression of language, expression of heritage, these are all the makeup of the identity of a community. And I think George Orwell has once said that the quickest way to get rid of a community is first their language, secondly their heritage, which is their history, music, poetry, art. And we are here today with a short and humble initiative to revive and promote a part of our history, which is the form of Gurbani and Gurmat Sangeet, which has been taught from forever and is also being taught by many institutions in Malaysia. Now, joining me today, we have Bhai Sahib Chamkaur Singh. We also have Veer, Sarab Iqball Singh and Veer Manpal Singh. So what is it that we'll be exploring today? We'll start off with something simple, which is Gurmat Sangeet instruments, how they are played, what is the way of learning it. Then we'll move on to the art and style of this expression of Gurmat Sangeet, what it means, how does it connect with other musical genres. And last but not least, we'll also deal with the ways and initiatives at a personal level and also at an institutional level as to how we are promoting Gurmat Sangeet within our community and abroad. So without further ado, I will connect with our speakers. Perhaps a simple starter, Bhai Chamkaur ji, if you could just start with how was Gurmat Sangeet introduced to you and what is your journey been so far?
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
I will go a bit further from 2010. That's where we started the Gurmat Sangeet Academy in Malaysia. And prior to that, there were 5 Guru Sikhs. I'm going to go very fast and I'm going to emphasize exactly what happened. Because I believe it's not only the techniques of teaching, right? There is more than that. So there were 5 Guru Sikhs who got together and they came up with the idea that we must have teachers to teach Gurmat Sangeet. That's the only way that we can improve. There must be an institution, there have to be a school. So when they came up with the idea, and I retired from Tenaga National, so they set up an academy, and now how do we move forward? There was already a SDTS Gurmat Sangeet Academy in Singapore. So we went to Singapore to have a look how they are running the academy. So the committee there really helped us out. उन्होंने हम दसिया हुई एक किस तरह academy चलानी है, किन्हें कैंटे किस तरह. So we picked up a lot of things. We came back here So next was the teachers. Where do we get the teachers to teach the Gurmat Sangeet? And they must be teachers, not pianists. Okay? So there is Baba Sucha Singh, Gurmat Sangeet Academy in Amritsar, and the person in charge is Principal Sukhwal Singh Ji, who's a principal there. And they have another academy in Ludhiana. Bhai Singh is the principal there. So we got in touch with them, and that's how we got the teachers from there. So at that time I was also teaching Kirtan. I had about 20 students. I took them to our academy and told them, okay, I'm going to manage the academy now, and we have professional teachers who are rag based, and this is how we are going to start. And then, to get visas and all that, you have to set up a company. So that's how we started, and then I had only 20, and we started working on that slowly, starting up the classes. This was a very learning process. Karte, things were getting better. We needed money. I met 2 Gursikhs who really helped me. There are a lot of people who really helped the academy. I'm not going to mention the name because the list is just too long. So, Dr. Singh, they really helped me with because the visas are expensive, the tickets are expensive, everything is very expensive. So, we started running the classes. So, while running the classes, the numbers started growing. When the numbers started growing, many Gurdwaras got in touch with us. Because today we have 9 centers and we have 400 students from the age of 5 to 70. We have parents coming in the morning session, and in the evening sessions from 3 to 9:30 we have children coming, all sort of life. And then we thought, they told us that it's very difficult for them to come to Central. When we have 9 centers, we have in PJ, Gurdwara Sahib, Shah Alam, we have in Satya Alam, we have in Sramban, Klang, Gurpuri, Kampung Pandan, and we have a good number learning there. So these teachers also go to the centers and teach. So basically we have grown, and what we did was we got the syllabus ready. There have to be a system, because जितना चाहे बच्चियाँ नो कीर्तन करने stage नहीं मिलती, समानी मिलता, जगह नहीं मिलती, how are they going to improve? So once you are going to perform, and then you will definitely do your practice. So इस तरह मापियाँ पाजड़ा पहले में. And there are sometimes parents bringing children at age of 3. So we tell them, you slow down. इतना 2 साल 1 लोग काट तो काट है, 5 के साथ है, 5.5 6 साल हो जाए, फिर थोड़ा जा सौखा हो जाए, तो समझे ना सौखा हो जाए. Basically, the whole idea when we started off the academy, where do we start off? I want to thank Malaysian Gurdwara Council, MGC, for giving us two floors to run the academy, and also to where the teachers can stay. And I want to thank Northern Suburb Malaysia. For a year, they were actually giving us donation of 2,000 ringgit per month. And there are many others who have came forward to help. We have one person from the day we started until today, is still paying. So, it just Sara Ganja, the whole setup. My belief is, in a pavna, intention and a pavna. ये थोड़ी पावना ठीक है ना, because there was no idea of making money. Idea was, this generation can take over. This generation is secular now. The coming generation, these parents can take care. When the children become parents, they can take care of their children. So there will be no problem. Otherwise, anybody comes and teach in a house, वो कुछ भी कह जावे, ਸਾਨੂੰ कुछ नहीं पता, because हम English का नहीं पता नहीं. Now I overlook the teachers, I overlook the children. So all the Gurdwara committees have been very kind, very helpful. All the parents have been very good, very kind. And मैं गाना ऐसी पावना, एक ना पावना बहुत जरूरी है. ये थोड़ी ये सारी पावना सही है ना. The universe will work with you. The universe will work in your favor, because you have no other agenda. ਕੋਈ ਸਾਡਾ ਇਹੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਹੋਵੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਜੇ ਆਉਣਗੇ ਕੀ ਸਿੱਖਣਗੇ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਸਿੱਖਣਗੇ ਹਾਂਜੀ so this is how we started I mean there are many other things that happen in between we all manage we help each other we have fantastic 3 teachers Bhai Singh ji Bhai Singh ji Bhai Singh ji we all work as a team and we have a lot of programs, we have set a lot of programs everywhere. This is how really we started in very short.
Thank you, Veer. I think it's beautiful to know that you've contributed so much of time and effort into the seva and at an institutional level. Perhaps you can tell us from your time before even 2010, how do you think Gurmat Sangeet education has changed or developed over these years? What have you seen change in the education of Gurmat Sangeet?
During my time, I went to Singh because in my Bhangra group there were no Tolki players, no Vaja players. So I could play Vaja and Tolki. I told him मैं Vaja सीखना. So he told me मैं कहना Bhangra में कोई जाने वाला है नहीं Vaja तबला मैं वो सीखना. So he told me तू light music सीख लिया कि तू राग सीखना. So you are my understanding. मैं कल ना Vaja को जाना सीखना गीत गाने हैं. So he said now पहला तबला सीख. He made me sit on the tabla for 2 years. कहना तेरी ताल पकनी चाहिए है. And while I was learning tabla, I was also, there were other students who were learning Vaja, so I'm hearing all the time, 90% my hearing. So my Vaja only 6 months, that's all, I picked up. Because for 2 years I was hearing all the rag, the tals, to shuru karniya, duji marta to shuru karniya, tiji marta to shuru karniya, So I picked up from there. But during our days, एक तो सीखने वाले बहुत थोड़े सी गए, एक ना सिखाने वाले भी बहुत थोड़े सी. आज तो लॉटरी लगी हुई है, मापियां नूं भाजड़ा पईयां हुई भी साडा बच्चा सीख जाए मगर ना रह जाए. फैंटेस्टिक थिंग. आई थिंक सब तो पहला ना वाहिगुरू का धन्नवाद करना चाहिए ना. फिर वो 5 सिख ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੂਹਰੇ आ के ना एनोमियस वो कहते साडा ਨਾਂ ना लियो जिन्हां ने एक काम शुरू किया. एंड आई बिलीव दैट अकैडमी कल्ली भी सारिਆਂ ਨੂੰ सिखा नहीं सकती ना. ਹੁਣ अपना पेरक हैगा, पिनंग हैगा, JB हैगा. So there are many other sewadars, many other teachers who are also teaching elsewhere. So एक पंथ वास्ते एक कल्ले दा काम नहीं हुंदा ना. So we all need to work together. भी जिन्ने भी टीचर आ सारे सिखाउण ते सिक्खी प्रफुल्लित होवे.
Thank you, Vijay. That's really insightful. Maybe we can come back to this conversation later about how else you think you want to see this scene improve. But I want to move on to Veer, Sarab, Iqbal. Maybe you can tell us about how you started your journey into Gurmat Sangeet and who was your inspiration and perhaps what was the first instrument you picked up.
Thank you very much, Alvin Dev Singh ji. I come from a family of Kirtan heritage. My dad was a Kirtani, Bhai Talochan Singh ji. My Dada ji is also a Kirtani, Bhai Gyan Singh in Penang. And our family lineage tracks back to India, as we are also a part of the family of Bhai Pal Singh ji. So in our family blood, Kirtan has always been there. And the first instrument and how I was introduced into Gurmat Sangeet is through tabla. I picked up tabla. My dad trained me on tabla since the age of 4 years old. My first formal education began when I was 7 years old from Master Pardeep Singh ji. Continuing on to a few more teachers, Master Amarjit Singh ji, who was that time teaching in the academy in Tat Khalsa, Wisma Tat Khalsa. Also learned from Master Swaran Singh, who is now in Australia. Also learned from Master Surjit Singh. Besides that, Master Lakhaji. And for the last 9 years, I have been under the tutelage of Master Prakash Kandasamy, of the Temple of Fine Arts, and also Sudarshan Singh Ji from the UK. So my whole journey has been into tabla, and I've grown a lot. I've graduated from the Temple of Fine Arts in tabla, learning different forms of tablas in the way of accompaniment, in the way of solo, in the way of playing it in a fusion. So in Gurmat Sangeet wise, my dad used to sing a lot of Rag Kirtan. And Rag Kirtan, there was all of these hard tals, compositions that you need to know. You need to understand what are these compositions, mainly from the Punjab Gharana, because Sikhi flourished in Punjab. The whole idea of Gurmat Sangeet was born in Punjab. The style of the tabla that we play with Kirtan, the style that we play the Jodi in Kirtan, that is based on the Punjab Gharana, the style that we are using for tabla. So that is how I started off my Gurmat Sangeet in this Gurbani line. And at the age of 8 or 9, last time Gyani Daljit Singh used to live in Lorong Tiong Nam in Chowkit area, the old house in the corner there. We used to meet Khalsa Ji, Gyani Mahinder Singh Khalsa, in his house. And I was 8 or 9, I can't remember. Gyani Ji told me to recite Mool Mantar in a singing form. Khalsa Ji said to my dad, "Innu hon kirtan te shuru kar de." So at the age of 8 or 9, I started doing a bit of kirtan, learning rags in a very minimum, you say, very little. But after I hit puberty, when I was 11, 12, my voice changed. I just gave up on kirtan. And I started picking up kirtan the last 5 to 6 years. So that is my line into Gurmat Sangeet. I'm currently under the tutelage of Ustad Satninder Singh Bodal Ji of the Bodal Gharana. So I'm learning kirtan from him right now. And it has been another 3 to 4 years now. So that is my experience and how I got into Gurmat Sangeet Ji.
Thank you. That's really beautiful. And I think there are so many points that you touched on, which I will visit later. But before that, maybe Veer Manpal Singh, maybe you can share your journey into Gurmat Sangeet and who inspired you and what's keeping you inspired to stay on this path.
Thank you, Vijay, for the question. So, my journey started when I was in Standard 1. So, I am from the Smesh. I was from the Smesh. And when you join the school, you have a choice. Either you play tabla or you play vaja. So I remember the time when we were buying the book, which one. So it's like kind of making up your mind for which instrument you're going to go for. And I had no idea. And even my parents couldn't make up their mind. So just buy 2 books first, then you follow where your friends go. So that was what happened. First week of school, all the boys went tabla, so I started with tabla first. But then I was also curious about vaja. And long story short, so I think about a month later, we started learning vaja from Sarab's dad, Bhai Singh. So he used to come to the house after school. And until I was standard 5, so until I was 11, both tabla and also vaja the learning was parallel. And although Bhai Singh, he was quite familiar and quite well versed and an expert in rags, but most of my training was not in rag. It was a lot of light shabads. And I mean, of course, we did learn a bit, like Bilawal, Todi, and all those stuff, but we had my sister and I, we had no appreciation for it. We were like, okay, whatever. But also at the same time, Sarab, his brother, myself and my sister, we went for our first Kirtan competition in Ipoh. And for our age group, we got second prize for that. But in terms of, so that was the journey of my primary school. And then I remember 2011, 2012, there was the same time when academy started. So when that happened, I then picked up Rabab. And at that time, Master Jagmeet, he was the resident teacher there. And we were one of, I, as well as Jasjeet and a few others, we were one of the starting students of that first batch. And then over the years in 2013, Master Parampriji, he then came down and the training was under him, focused on Rabab. And when puberty hit also, the voice broke. So the learning changed. It became more instrumental rather than vocal. So I was around 13, 14 until I was 18, no singing at all. Probably a bit, but just one Shabad, two Shabads here. But broadly, no singing, only playing or just accompaniment. And then when I was 18, there was a time when my A levels ended, and I had about 3 months break before I went to uni. And I thought, might as well start. So at this, and I think throughout that journey, when academy started and when I started going for classes, that was when the appreciation came for understanding Rag, what it is, why is it important, what role does it play in beautifying the Shabad, as well as even when Principal Sukhwan Singh also used to come, attending all those workshops. Probably we're a bit too young, but over the years, that appreciation grew. And then that's how that interest to sing started coming again. So within those 3 months after A levels and then between uni, I revived my vocal journey again, and that was under the guidance of Master Arvinder Rana. So basically the training under him was from scratch again. It was from Saregama Pada Nisa. And then within those 3 months, then I studied overseas for a while. Even over there, while there was no formal training or no formal classes, but there were a lot of knowledgeable people there. So for example, Kiran Veerji, Jasdeep Veerji, and also Harjinder Singh Lally, based in Birmingham. They used to come down to London a lot. So spending time with them, accompanying them, they shared a lot of knowledge along the way. And then moving fast forward, COVID hit, so everything went online. So again, all classes stopped, literally nothing. And then that's when I then came back from from the UK. And along that time, there was a bit of interest towards Hindustani music as well. So because that's where most of the rag development was. And then from there, I used to listen a lot to Pandit Rajan Sajan Mishra of the Banaras Ghana. So from there, the interest towards vocal, towards singing generally grew. And then once things started recovering, I then started learning under Sri Soranj Mishra of the Banaras Gharana as well, vocal. And also because it was many years later, again started from scratch again, Saregama Pada Nisa. and it started from a clean slate. And then it has been happening, and the classes have been going on since then. And also, when I was briefly working in Singapore, there was a good chance to also have face-to-face classes as well. So at the same time, I started learning from Sri Ravindra Parchure, and he is of the Gwalior Gharana. So those classes have been happening parallel, but not that often. And now it's again happening, not often, but the medium has moved towards online. So I think that is the overall summarized journey of just Kirtan and what overall Rag Kirtan.
Thank you, Veer Manpal. I think what's common, Sangatji, between all the panelists we have today is they've all started their journey as kids or very young age, and someone has always inspired them in that sense. And this is one question I'll pose to all of you all, and you all can share with me, is everybody grew up hearing to one Kirtani and that one Shabad that's always stuck with them, maybe until today. And for me, is Bhai Harjinder Singh Ji, and his Shabad. And that's something that I was listening to when I was on the way to school, and that is something that stuck in me. And Birha, Birha, Akhiye. That's the Shabad that stuck with me. Perhaps Virji and Paisab, maybe you can share one Kirtani and that one Shabad that you've always heard and is evergreen to you even until today.
I think there's one ragi, very old ragi. Last time we had the tapes, running.
Reels.
So the reels running, and my Pitaji was a Gyani in Parliament Gurdwara. So we had a Saturday program. So there was a Asadi War by the Jo Mange Thakur Jo Mange Thakur apne te Soi Soi Deva. Sung by which ragi? Surjan Singh.
No, Bakshi Singh. Bhai Bakshi Singh.
Bakshi Singh. Okay, this, although the reels were going on, that time was limited.
Yeah.
What we had during my days in the 70s.
Okay.
So, sorry, I see back, Jo mange Thakure apne te Soi Soi Dev. Sorry, I back, ehi gona. So this is one really touched me, this Shabad. Until today, मैं सुनता रहना हमेशा.
Thank you, Virji. Please.
I have no favorite Shabad, unfortunately. But growing up, the one ragi that I always used to listen to, I mean CDs at home, cassettes. Those days, my dad used to drive the Saga. You have the cassette. So my father is a big fan, also a student of Bhai Sarab Singh Rangila. So every time we want to hear anything is always Bhai Sarab's Kirtan. And the most unique thing that I used to listen from him, he used to do all these rag guldastas. Rag guldasta means mixture of a few rags in one Shabad. So that was something that I loved to listen from Bhai Sarab that time. So I would say Bhai Sarab Singh Ji Rangila. Hanji.
I think for me was, so my dad used to play CD every night before we used to sleep, and that is, the ragi is Pai, I think it's Pai Niranjan Singh Ji, and the Shabad was Dagmaga Chadare, Chadare Manbora. That was one. Another Shabad is by Pai Surjan Singh Ji, but we never heard the recording. I'll hear my father singing it. Only one line. Mil mere Pritama Jiyo.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think as a family, the types of Shabads that we listen to, I think it shifted across time, right? Because when we were younger as well, that awareness was not there. So anything, but then it was always those two Shabads. Until now, it's also those two Shabads as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful. I think what's important is that the Shabad has expression, and the way it was shared with you all. That's the whole point of music. That's the whole point of Kirtan. It connects people at a different level, at a different state of mind. And I think two of you all have mentioned a form of rhythm that has struck you. And Virji, Sarab, I think Bhai Sarabjit Ji generally does a lot of rags. So maybe what we can now go into finally is, because of the focus and the way our Guru Granth Sahib Ji is arranged in the form of rags, maybe we can start off with what is a rag, and how would you like to make the Sangat understand that why is it so important in the way Guru Granth Sahib Ji is compiled?
So I think the most easiest way to define rag is, at the first layer, it's a specific combination of notes which has a unique ascending, descending order. It has certain notes where you emphasize more, and also it has a distinct flow. That is the first level. But essentially, when rag is sung, it's it invokes a particular emotion, depending on the way how you steer the rag, right? And also that rag is something that has existed thousands of years. It's very ancient.
Yes.
So there is a saying that where how rags were created, where the rishis and the munis, they have studied every single note. And once they study every single note, they identify which combination suits your mind and your soul, when it's sung at that particular time of day. And even that, they also identify, like, if you sing the rag this way, it will impact your body even more. It's about connecting. It's a bit of a science. It's a bit of spirituality, because you are linking nature to yourself, and that is through notes. And also rags have been made by the rishis. Rags have also been made by our gurus. Rags have also been made by the Hindu devte. So there's also a belief that, and we even use these rags in our own kirtan. So for example, rag bhairo, right? There's a saying that this rag comes out from Shivji's dumuru. That little drum that is on his trident, they say that rag bhairo comes from there. That is a saying. And how rag is important is because when Guru Nanak Dev Ji used to go on his udasis, right? Bani was always sung first and then written. And when it was sung in rag. So that's where, even today when we read our Shabads, right, it's always acknowledgement of the rag first, and then of the Guru, or of that Pagat that where she wrote it down. Yeah, that's the basic summary of what it is.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, there's always been an expression in the form of rag, and that is what we call classical Indian music, and that's lasted for thousands and thousands of years. And is it fair to say that Gurmat Sangeet, as we see it today, and as compiled in Guru Granth Sahib, is been a subset or subcategory of all those rags, or would you say that it's just selective picking, that this is the rag that connects to you at this time of the day, it should be sung this way? How do you connect between what is classical Indian music, and then how do you distinguish it from Gurmat Sangeet, if there's any difference?
I think maybe for the vocal side first, maybe Sarab can add on the bit of our tabla side. But I think from the vocal and the singing point of view, I would say some people will call it distinct, separate, but I would look at it as a branch.
Okay.
Because I think from the vocal perspective, the training is the same.
Okay.
Right? So you first got to understand sur, your notes. Then you understand the rag, how many rags there are. Or whatever you can learn in your lifetime. And although there may be, and the interesting thing about Gurmat Sangeet is that we have preserved rags that are no longer existent in Indian classical music today. So maybe hundreds of years ago, all the rags that exist in Guru Granth Sahib Ji would have been sung by anyone, but now no more. That will be one difference. The next part will be tal, beat. So that again, I think Indian classical music and also Gurmat Sangeet, you will share the same set of beats. Okay. And then you have bandish, composition, and also delivery. So that's where the two main differences come up. So in bandish wise, in composition wise, we use shabads, we use gurbani. Whereas in Indian classical music, their compositions are whatever that has existed in their own gharana. So their own gurus, their own ustads have made it, and then they just carry on forward by generation.
Okay.
And also in delivery, this is where the big difference is. While looking at kirtan, looking at Indian classical music first, there is Drupad, there is Khayal. In Khayal you have various types. Then you also have the lighter forms, Thumri and all of that. Whereas while Kirtan has that, we have more items. So for example, we have a thing called partal. That is, in the Shabad, the tal will change. And also, we have a thing called Guldasta. That in the Shabad, the rag changes, where Indian classical music does not have. Probably another, those are the two differences, but another similarity that we tend to say is that Gurmat Sangeet has a thing called Mishrat Rags, which I think later many of us will be singing it. So this is something that both Indian classical music and also Gurmat Sangeet share, but it's named differently. Okay. So we call it Mishrat Rag because it's essentially a mixture of a few rags, where you either maintain the structure of both or it leads to a new rag. In Hindustani music, it's called Jod Rag. Essentially just two rags coming together. So the common ones that we do share are the Basant and all the variants, Kannada, those are, and some form of Bhairos as well. Sarang as well. Quite a few that we do share, but I think if I were to summarize, in terms of the principles, is the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there is also one more that if I can add on, I think is the concept of how you start the Kirtan. And maybe Veerji, both of you all will all know that we all start off Kirtan with a dandot. Perhaps Veerji, Iqbal, maybe you'd like to share on what's the concept behind a dandot and why is that important in our tradition?
Dandot, the word itself carries a big weight. Dandot means to namaskar, to bow down, to surrender. And what are we surrendering here? We are surrendering our matta, our intelligence, our intellect. To who? To the Guru. Because why? When we are going to sing the Shabad doesn't belong to us. The Shabad belongs to Akal Purkha Paramatma, to Vaheguru. That is where we put aside all our matta, we do a dandot, doing an ardas to the Guru that, Guruji, I'm going to sing your Shabad as per your hukam, and whatever matta I have, I don't want this to support me when I sing the Shabad. I need your intellect. That is why we call it Gurmat Sangeet. To sing in the presence and the hukam of Vaheguru Paramatma of Akal Purkha in that Bani. This Maryada of Dandot Guru Pyari Sahib Sangat Ji was not started by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. It was never introduced by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Dandot was not there during Guru Nanak Dev Ji's time. It was not there during Guru Angad Dev Ji's time. It was not there during Guru Amar Das Ji's time. It was not there during Guru Ram Das Ji's time. When this Dandot came, it was during Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj's time. Why? Before Guru Arjan Dev Ji's period, Kirtan used to be done by Ragis, by Kirtanis. Only qualified people used to do Kirtan. During Guru Arjan Dev Ji's time, most of you all know this, the story of Bhai Sata and Balwand. Most of you all know the story, and Bhai Sata and Balwand, their Bani is also in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, Ramkali Ki War, there's one Bani. So during that time, what happened, I will just make the story brief. Bhai Sata and Balwand had a sister. They wanted to get their sister married. And in those days, you all know that the woman has to give a big amount of dowry to the male side to get the girl married to the guy. So both Bhai Sata and Balwant went to Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj and told Guru Sahib that, look, my daughter is going to get married, my sister is going to get married. We need some funding, some maya. So Guru Sahib Ji say, okay, that's not an issue. Tusi Kirtan di Hazri lalo, Shamnu. As they were going for Kirtan Hazri, Guru Pyari Sahib Sangat Ji, it started raining. All of us know, when it rains, less people come to Gurdwara. Harder to reach Gurdwara. And in Darbar Sahib, that time Guru Pyari Sahib Singh didn't have all the shades like we have nowadays, umbrellas and all of these kind of things. Okay? Less people used to come during these kind of raining seasons. So what happened was that their Shabad Peta was so little. Then they came to Guru Sahib, they said, Guru Sahib, look, only this much, how are we going to pay? We demand you to give us money. They demanded from the Guru Maya. Then what happened was that they told Guru Sahib, if you're not going to give us, we're not going to do Kirtan anymore in your Darbar. And our Guru is so great, Guru Pyari Sahib Singh Ji, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj sent a few Gursikhs to go and pujok them. Aja wapas. Guru Sahib de Darbar Sahib vich Kirtan karo. It's the highest place you can get an opportunity to do Kirtan. Just because of Maya, they fell victim to Kaljuk. So what happened was that Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, we don't need all of these professionals doing Kirtan in Darbar Sahib. Today, I give this power of Kirtan to the Sangat. Whoever was sitting in that Darbar who wanted to do Hazri of Kirtan, whether it was one Shabad, two Shabad, or certain period of time, Guru Sahib said, Hon Sangta ne Kirtan karna hai. There's one thing, we are not professional like those Ragis, but we can do one thing. Our Guru Sahib is bada diyalua, bada kirpalua. He gives. Denda de lende thak paaye. He gives a lot of guna to his Gursikhs. So how to obtain the guna Guru Pyari Sahib Singh Ji, that virtue of Kirtan, that is where Guru Sahib, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj introduced Dandaut in Kirtan. Ananda Guna Nidan Guru Garib Nivaj. Most of these Kirtanis you listen, those who stick to the Maryada use this Pankti. And this Pankti was actually started by Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj in Kirtan Maryada Guru Pyari Sahib Singh Ji. So, to renounce Maya, to renounce ego, that is why we do Dandaut in Kirtan Guru Pyari Sahib Singh Ji. And that is why we have to preserve this Maryada to make sure when we do Kirtan, the five vices and ego, Maya doesn't come and blind us. Because we want to do Kirtan to share this experience with the Sangat, the experience of the Guru, not our mata experience with the Sangat. So that is the importance of Dandaut. Hanji.
That's a really powerful message. Thank you, Virji. And I feel that setting that Dandaut, it doesn't only connect the Kirtani, but also helps connect the Sangat to the music, to the Shabad before we even start. So, what's your favorite or what's your usual Dandaut that you start with?
Just another thing to add on. Dandaut, okay, this is the form of Gurbani way of putting it. Dandaut, in another way of putting it in the form of Kirtanis, is for us to warm up our voices as well. Before we start asking Besur, Nahon, because we need to attune to the rag that we are going to sing. So we don't want to go Besur. So when we are saying Sare, we make sure we hit the right re, not Sare, something else. So it is important for us to attune ourselves to the rag at the same time as well when we do Dandaut. So you were saying, what is my most favorite?
What's your usual Dandaut Shabad for when you start?
The most common Shabad that everyone does is Dandaut Bandhan Anakbar. Sarab Kala Samratha Dolante Rakho Prabhu Nanak Dekar Hath. My most often used Shabad that I use for Dandaut is...
Okay, I'll come to you.
Tan Tan Guru Nanak Jan Kera Jit Milya Chuke Sab Sog Santape. Hanji, that is the Shabad that we normally start off for Dandaut. Or another one we take from Sanskrit Salok, Charna Rabinja Pajanang, Ridang Naam Tarane, Kirtan Saad Sangere, Nanak Drishtanta Ne Jamadut Ne. So these are some of the Dandaut Shabads that we use.
Okay. Virji, you touched on Maryada, but my question is now for Bhai Sahib Chamkaur. And I think Virji, Bhai Sahib ji, you've been in the space of first seeing how our generation has developed Kirtan in Smelan setting, and I think we are very used to the idea of kirtan being sung in popular rhythms or whatever rhythm, and then now you are in a space where you are part of an institution that delivers and teaches Gurmat Sangeet formally in the form of rag. In your view, what is it, popular rhythm, or do you think it's rags that connect people or the sangat more? And why do you feel that way?
I think both are important, because not everybody can sing rag.
Okay.
You must understand. We send our academy students to Gurdwara Sahib Sentul every week, right, to do kirtan. But 1 week we have Gadgaj Kirtan, where all the Panja will sit with the Tolki and Shani. Okay. I am born with the Tolki and Shani, because my father was a very good Tolki player. So we used to sing all the Shabad Siddhe Tarnate. So it's not fair, as we grow, we learn a lot of things. What Sikhism was 100 years ago, it's not now. A lot of things have changed. Every religion is the same. So every 50 years things will change. Anji? So we have to move with time. But it's very good that we have academy and we can explore rag now. Guru ne jara khajana thanu deta hoya hai. Aise explore kar rahe hain. Like in my academy, everything is rag based, because that's what we are supposed to sing. But either any matlab koi gadgaj kirtan nahi kar sakta. You see, for nearly about 8 years, every year when we used to go to the Smelans for the team, I used to get one Shabbat. They tell me, Chamkaur, you are getting good in all this. Can you prepare a tune? Okay. So I remember, Ek Pita, Ek Kiski Hum Barak. I'll just sing for you. That tune I created myself. Ek Pita, Ek Kiske Hum Barak. Tu mera Gurhai, tu mera Gurhai, tu mera Gurhai. Ek pita, ek sikke hum barik, tu mera Gurhai. Now if you ask me what rag, I don't understand. But I created this tune. The whole, that 1,000 over participants in the Smelan, for 1 week they were singing. You see, there's something beyond rag. When you get connected, you leave everything. Then you don't need, when you know how to swim, you don't need to swim in the shallow water. You can go as deep as it is. So, I think we should accept everything. Because हर कोई राग वच कीर्तन नहीं कर सकता. जे आप कहिए ना सर कीर्तन करना सब राग वच ही करना. दूजे जिन्होंने नहीं राग आंदा, जिन्होंने ताल दा नहीं पता, जिन्होंने ज्ञान है नहीं संगीत दा, वो की करनगे? वो चुप करके बैठ जान. I think जिन्ना को उन्होंने आंदा ना, we must accept, allow them to sing, accept them as ours.
That's wonderful, Vijay. I think that composition that you just sang is something that even my family still sings until today whenever they can, and I think it's really stuck in the minds of a lot of people. So thank you for coming up with that. I was thinking when you said about Maryada and rhythms, I feel, do you all think that is why our generally Gurdwaras have a Maryada, or at least Kirtanis have a Maryada, that you must start with a rag and then you follow by a rhythm so that the Sangat stays connected? Do you think that's why it works, or is there something that you would like to share with Sangat about the idea behind that?
I think that's a very interesting question, because if you look over the last century, right, that is where a lot of change happened. Not only in the music space for Sikhs, but in terms of identity, we have changed a lot, and also where that movement came, where we, I think the structure of how things ran in the past were very different. So why Gurmat Sangeet or why Rag Kirtan thrived was because there was a lot of patronage. that used to happen. And most of that patronage were around the major spiritual centers of the Sikhs. So for example, Sachkhand Sri Darbar Sahib, Nankana Sahib, these are examples of places where patronage used to happen, and that's where Kirtan or Rag Kirtan flourished at its maximum, at its peak. But also, I think going to Bhai Chamkaurji's point of view that yes, that access was not there for everyone, right? So when you go to the village, or like when they go around singing in troops, they won't be singing in rag. Or like even like when you go to like Hazur Sahib, when there's kirtan happening in the main darbar, there will be other sangat, even from different religions, singing kirtan, singing shabad, but in their own tunes that are simple to then catch. But I think how our within us Sikhs, how the kirtan maryada, or how the kirtan parampara, or you can call it the SOP when you're sitting on the stage and what to sing, that has clearly changed. So I think why that shift happened from rag towards non-rag kirtan first was basically first it was the British basically stopped the patronage of those ragis. So when your sole job is to literally learn how to sing properly is then cut off, so that will impact how you will actually deliver. And second was also you have the development of technology. So that was also a major thing why Rag Kirtan got deprioritized. So because I think very simply put is when mass media came up, and from the music producer's point of view, and looking at his income, he found it more profitable to actually sell songs rather than actually shabads and rags. So when I do not produce, or when I do not produce kirtan, which was rag based at that time, so from the ragist point of view is that I have no one to give, I have nowhere to go and record. So that also cuts your income, and that started the shift towards non-rag kirtan. The third reason was looking at partition. So we had a lot of rababis who where they were all generational, and they possessed a lot of knowledge. But the sad thing was that when partition happened, we did not do a good job of keeping them with us, and we just let them go. And that's also partly because in the Sikh Rat Maryada, by Akal Takht you say that Unne number Tariq into Kirtan. So there was another reason why we lost. So those reasons combined, you have Rag Kirtan, or we'll call it Kirtan because Kirtan that time was Rag based. So that level so those standards went down, whereas shifting towards lighter kirtan and then adopting other tunes, and I mean basically it's in summary it's just basically more of an income story, and then coming back, so this was in the 40s 50s, and then you go towards the late 80s 90s, when you will say a new Rag Kirtan movement came back, where Sant Baba Sucha Singh Ji of Vajjavati Taksal came back and wanted to revive this. So I think that's where that minimum parampara comes, where your first shabad must be in rag, and then subsequent you sing in whatever tunes you like. Because I think also something to share, I can't remember which ragi was it, but he shared this in an interview that in the olden days, one kirtan slot, one kirtan hajri in where Darbar Sahib used to be 2 hours, and in those 2 hours you only sing 3 to 4 shabads. That's it. So starting is your shan, which is basically a demonstration of our tabla. or what Jodi. Second is Dandot. Then you start your first Shabad, which will be in then Drupad. Third, then your second Shabad will also be in Drupad or in the lighter classical form, so like your Teen Tal, Chap Tal. Then third and fourth Shabad will be again in Rag, but moving towards lighter forms of it. So that was the change. And then when partition happened, technology, everything compounded. So that's where the shift in music happened. Yeah.
So we got Rag, we got tunes. There's also one Maryada that's been kept alive, and I'm hoping to explore that, is this Maryada of Tadi Jatha. We also have that within the vicinity of Harmandir Sahib. It still happens till today. I'm just Tadi Jatha. So what I want to explore is where do you think this Maryada started, and do you still think it's relevant within our Sangha today?
Okay, first and foremost, in the scene of singing Tadi, Nanak Sar Sahib of singing Ra, Kirtan, Bollywood tunes and so on, Tadi started during the periods when the Sikhs started going for wars. Why? Very hard to carry instruments to go to war. Because Saj used to be very big those days. Nowadays we see very small Saj. And that time, nowadays we don't have shops where you can just go and buy string. It's the Tali Putos in anyone. So you had to make your own strings those days. So what happened was that the most easy way to do kirtan or to do kavitava and so on was the tadda. Tadda is a small type of tolki, I would say, which you use your pressure to make the sound. And please bear in mind, everyone here, there were no sarangis in Taddi last time. There were no sarangis, there was no saranda. Taddi Jatha means tadda. Tadda means that instrument. So only that instrument was used. So this was during the period of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, and today still being sung. But the one issue that we have now is the Maryada. You said Maryada. The problem is in SRM, Sikh Rahat Maryada, it only defines who can do Kirtan and who cannot do Kirtan. There is no definition how to do Kirtan or what is Kirtan, okay, and how do you teach Kirtan, ta'ada. It only tells you, like Manpal say, Amritdhari only can do Kirtan, a Sikh can do Kirtan, this, that's it. The whole idea then, what happened was that they only wanted Shabads to be sung in the vicinity of Darbar Sahib. A lot of issues happened during the Gurdwara movement in the 1930s. So that is where the Tadi Jathas were pushed out of Darbar Sahib and they were given a place in front of a Kal Takht, whether it's Tadi Jatha, whether it's Kavishari, whether it's Katha Vachaks and so on. So that Maryada of Kirtan has only now maintained to be singing Gurbani. That is why you don't see anyone doing Katha in Darbar Sahib. That is why you don't see anyone doing Kavishri in Darbar Sahib. So it's based on these two reasons. And yeah, this is the whole idea of Tadi Jatha.
Thank you for that. Sangatji, I think we've covered quite a bit, but we've covered the first part about the instruments and their personal background. We've also then covered the various types of music genres, not just in Sangeet, Gurmat Sangeet, but also outside. I'd like to move on with another topic that we are going to discuss, which is what are the challenges and what steps can we take to improve and maintain this tradition that we have. Perhaps I think Bhai Chamkaur ji, who's at an institutional level, you've been at the academy for many years now. What do you think is, if you can just name one challenge that at institutional level you are facing, and how do you think the Sangat can help improve it?
Basically, it took us about, we are 15 years old. 15 ਸਾਲ ਲੱਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ 400 ਬੱਚਾ ਹੈ. Challenges came with financially we were very tight. ਹਾਂਜੀ. And I have received calls from Perak, from Penang, from Johor, asking me to set up academy there. So मैं उन्होंने क्या देखो वीर ना साढ़े को थे 400 बच्चा है ना ते 10 टीचर थे. There's no way I can send these teachers there. मैं उन्होंने कहना जिस तरह इतने 5 सिख तैयार होए ना जे पेरक दे विच 5 जाने उठ खड़न हाँ जी जे पनांग दे विच 5 हो जान होर सिख है ना गुरसिख जे 5 हो जान जौहर दे विच you have won the battle. You know the 5 professionals गुरसिख मूरे हो गए या जो भी सिख ने साडे जिन्होंने दर्द है हाँ जी ये आ जान the setup teachers we can talk to principal Sukhwan Singh ji we can get the teachers and you take care of them हाँ जी because उन पेरक विच पेरक वाल नूं पता ना भी दूजे गुरुद्वारे किन्ने किन्ने दूर आते और 40 गुरुद्वारा इन पेरक 40 गुरुद्वारे ने सो उत्थे उन्हां दी क्लासां सैटअप करनियां उन्होंने रहन वास्ते बहन वास्ते टेक केयर ऑफ द टीचर हेल्प हिम गाइड हिम बिकॉज टीचर्स नीड गाइडेंस. देखो ना टीचर इंडिया तो इन्नी दूरों चल के इत्थे आए ने अनलैस यू डोंट मेक दैम हैज योर फैमिली इफ यू ट्रीट हिम लाइक अ स्टाफ फिर वो जाओ काम करूँगा. सो यू हैव टू ट्रीट हिम लाइक अ फैमिली. मैं ना मेरे अकैडमी में ना मैं प्यो हाँ उत्ते सम भैन जी कम कॉल मी बापू जी and the teachers say uncle ji tu hi sada pyo wa tu hi sab kuch hai. Yeah, even look into their family affairs. I used to do in my Pangada group also. Each member of my Pangada group I had a personal relationship. That this is the technique. Nobody will go against you because you already have a personal and you tell him earlier before the meeting to ana boli you don't worry I will take care. So there's no opposition. ठीक है नहीं सो बट बी सिंसियर सो ना ये ना जिथे एकता ना तुम कोई हिला नहीं सकता. आई यूज टू टेल पीपल इफ यू कैनॉट टॉक गुड अबाउट माई ब्रदर डोंट से एनी नास्टी थिंग्स आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू लिसन. आई डोंट अलाउ एनी बॉडी टू स्पीक एनी थिंग अगेंस्ट माई फैमिली. सो दैट्स नो प्रॉब्लम ना वैन यू अलाउ पीपल बिकॉज यू वॉन्ट टू हियर किते कर देना होन किते कह देना होन. So that's where the problem will come. So here we are unity. The teachers are united. Told them, we have any problem, come and tell me. Be truthful. We will solve the problem easily. So actually we are waiting. I've spoken to one Veerji from Perak also lately. So we are waiting. If they can set up, then we are ever willing to help. I think, because definitely academy cannot teach everybody, Hanji. So you can, utte set up ho jave, ek Panang ho jave, ek Johor ho jave. We are covered. Okay.
So do you think the issue here is commitment from Sangat or do you think the issue is resources?
See, if you consider the academy you see has flourished from 20 to 400. You know, it's a very great achievement. You know, and then Jera we sunda pachke onda. And there are anyway I guess ade Veer you can la thode bete ne bibi ne kitne sikana good academy. Because and not trust ona. We utte jaan ke na because now any child comes there I overlook within 3 months or 6 months je wo bachcha stage te nahi baitha kyun nahi baitha. I will call up the teacher. Minu dasso. If there's a problem, call the parents. And practice the sama, rakha ke nahi. Jinna chare is stage they nahi ban gaye, inhane nahi sikhna, na inhane practice karni bachya nu. Don't think about the high level or the rag. Inhanu pehla takko sahi pehla. Kam shuru karo, stage te biठाओ. Hun jadon duje maape dekhde unhanu nu, inhan de bachche stage te baithe a. वो कहते भी ना कि ऐसे आपके बच्चे लेके आइए. हाँ जी सो अब मैं पहला क्या सी ना भावना इफ मैं सोचा भी मैं तो बगैर अकेडमी नहीं चलनी इस तरह नहीं होता है ना. बदल जाए अगर माली खाली होता चमन होता नहीं खाली. बदल जाए अगर माली चमन होता नहीं खाली. सो जे मैं सोचा भी मेरे करके अकेडमी चलती इस तरह नहीं. तेनू पता 5 भावना वाले सिखा ने जरा शुरू किया वा गुर सिख सीगे उन्होंने तो कोई भगती होनी है जरा इन्ना कम चलिया है. Otherwise, it's not easy. Anji? So basically, ekata. Very important, and then everybody have to help. You have to work together.
Just one last question for you, Bhai Sahib ji. So if you want to, if there's somebody who's looking to start their journey for Gurmat Sangeet, what is your one advice to that student?
हाँ जी, basically जरे आंदे सीखने वास्ते ही आ otherwise तो कोई आंदा नहीं because उन्होंने दूसरे बच्चे देखे हुए हैं.
Okay.
हाँ जी, so I told them you start off. I will tell the teachers that registration I will do when nobody is there. Registration I will do. So I'll make the parents sit there. If the child is above 16, 17, then I can speak to him. जो छोटा बात है फिर parents से नाल गल करनी है. So I tell them the rules and regulations of the academy, and I tell them, listen here, I'm here 24 hours. Please put your trust in me. You have any problem, you cannot solve the teacher, please come. I'm willing to listen to you. And I want to tell you that I had one family who had a little small issue. They said, cannot solve. They came to me without talking to the teacher, without the teacher knowing. I told them I want to have a meeting with the children alone. I brought the children and I spoke to them and I solved everything. You know, when the teachers don't ask me, किने report कीती है, क्यों कीती है, मैं ये नहीं कीता, you know, so वो बहुत सारा काम बिगड़ जाना, खिलर जाना, वो साफ करना पैना. Now, without even the teacher knowing, I spoke to the parents, I spoke to the students, and I solved their problem. It was just understanding, that's all. Anji? So this technique is very important. Don't go and catch people straight away. Usko aar ke gal suno, then how you can solve. Guru Maharaj ki ardas karo, ve garus. Ye tera kam hai Guru. Bani bhi teri hai, aise bhi tere hai. Ye bacche bhi, every child is my child. Every teacher is also my child. Every parent also is very dear to me. I listen to the parents, I listen to the committees. I sit on and solve as much. But my ardas is that Sadhguru to kripa kar sari sangat na Malaysia di sari kirtan kan lag pave. So hopefully that chalo apa hun beej bijya gaya na. So like people like Sarab ji, people like Manpal and many eight bacche hai na chote. Like my grandchildren's age la. Anji. So dekhiye inna ne देखो न फ्लावरिश हाँ न जिन्ने भी साढ़े थे बच्चे हैं इन्होंने अगे काम तोड़ना ना आज देखो सारे बच्चे एकेडमी के बच्चे बैठे हैं lately Khalsa Diwan had a Kirtan program in Central Gurdwara. हाँ जी उन्होंने 25 साल हो गए. I think they got 40 over schools. देखो उन्होंने कमाई कितनी है. एनी सेवा पंजाबी पढ़ा रहे ने you know टीचरां इकट्ठियां करनियां स्कूलों के विच स्कूल लानी. It's not an easy thing. And all the schools were supposed to do Kirtan. And you'll be shocked, 90% of the students belongs to the academy. देखो उन्होंने गुरमुखी उत्थे सीखी, कीर्तन इत्थे सीखिया. Look at it. So the academy is so helpful and Khalsa Diwan, क्या बात है. Fantastic job. कितने सालों तो ना की वो सारे लगे हुए ने. To organize such a program to get all the schools from all over the country to bring them together. So मैं कहना ना competition कट करो. I made it very clear. On गुरबाणी ते competition कट करो. अपना कीर्तन दरबार ज़्यादा लाओ. कीर्तन दरबार ते every child will get a chance. Let the Guru be a judge. You know there are many. You have a competition. No, sports is fine. When you do a competition in Gurdwara, and those who did not win, thonu pata o guru de kar bichno kine naras hoke jande, you know, they never win. You know, somebody comes from Penang, he lose and go. He's traveling back 6 hours. Ode man ch ki beeti di hogi la. O jara bachcha han 8 saal da, 10 saal da, 9 saal da na, o bichare no ki pata. Ode man ch ki beeti hogi na, main ke to Gurdwara mein I lost la. So I said, why create this? You will have competition now. You have those who are 20 and above. Janu rag da gyana, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾਲ ਦਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਆ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਸੂਝਵਾਨ ਆ ਓਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਦੇ ਅੰਡਰਸਟੈਂਡ ਥਿੰਗਸ ਵੈਲ ਥੀਸ ਚਿਲਡਰਨ ਹੈਵ ਅ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਫॉर them, give them prizes, make them happy and they can go back. ਜੋ ਦੋ ਦਿਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੋ ਕੰਪੀਟੀਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਭੱਜ ਇਹ ਕਰ ਇਹ ਜੱਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਠੀਕ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਠੀਕ this is not happy ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਠੀਕ so it's not beneficial. I think ਰਾਗ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਬਾਪੂ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿੱਤ ਕੇ ਜਾਈਏ.
There was so much wisdom in that, Virji. I think we should Palau and Jakara. Bole Sonehal.
Sat Sri Akal.
Thank you, Bhai Sahib. We're coming close to our tail end. I'll just put two questions to both of you all and then we can wrap it up. Okay. So my first question would be, what is that one challenge you faced in your journey for Gurmat Sangeet? And maybe my follow-up question will then be, what is the one thing that you think would help improve access and preserving this heritage of Gurmat Sangeet? So that's for both of you all. So take your time and...
Challenge that I faced a lot, I would say. Many of you all seated here, you all know. So,
one you're willing to share?
The challenge which I mainly faced going through this journey of Sangeet, I will just put the word of Sangeet. It's open mind, having an open mind, understanding things which you're not so attuned to. Example, I took a big leap in 2016 when I told myself, I'm tired of learning from the Sikh way of tabla, the Sikh way of doing kirtan. I want to explore out there. What is the world out there? What is tabla beyond the Gurdwara? That was the biggest challenge. Putting me going into an institution which is so vast, different types of music, different calculation styles, different rhythmic cycles, different mindset, and you're just there, coming from a Gurdwara community, going there. That is a very big challenge to adapt there. I have seen many Sikhs, Punjabis from Gurdwaras go there, they don't last long. After a few months, cannot adapt, come out. After 1-2 years, come out. To have the willpower to sit at that kind of institution, which is a big institution, and to keep your mind open to learning all those different types of music, at the same time facing criticism from our own community. Why? Oh munda vekhla, tabla ਪਿਓ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਸੀ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਵੇਖ ਲਾ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਬੀਬੀਆਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਨੱਚੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਵਜਾਉਂਦਾ ਤਬਲਾ. Why? Our mindset. We are so close-minded that when we play tabla besides kirtana, it is wrong. Kathak is a form of an art. It's a dance form of art. A tabla is the main accompany in that dance. You go out there, one singer who doesn't sing Vaheguru, Vaheguru, and he starts singing Hindustani like how Manpal does and all. This kind of things, nahi, ye theek nahi hai. So to receive the criticism from your own community because of all of this, that was the biggest challenge. Especially after Dad left, there was some group of people who were thinking, oh, ਛੱਡ ਪਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੀ ਲੈਣਾ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕੀ ਲੈਣਾ, ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਜਾ. ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤਬਲਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਜਾਉਂਦਾ ਆ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਛੱਡ. So that was the biggest challenge. And secondly, I would like to see flourishing. Uncle Ji has worked very hard setting up the academy as well as Khalsa Diwan. I believe the biggest thing that can happen now is to create an institution in Malaysia that combines all of the educations that we have, from Punjabi to Gurmat Sangeet to Gurbani to Gatka, everything together, make it like a day school. The current day school that we have is only Punjabi education. Uda, Eda, Idi, Sasa, Hawa, Haha, how to do Kavata, how to write, prepare for SPM and so on. That's it. After that, what? So the expansion has to come in. Organizations, certain group of people have to sit together to combine their strengths in order to create that kind of institution in that country. We don't have that institution at the moment. Because, yes, it was a big eye-opener when I went to Temple of Fine Arts. That is where I graduated. It's my home. Why? In that institution, you get everything. You get music education, you get godly education, you get opportunities to play with big artists on big stage. Stage is given to you. Everything is up to you. Everything is given. You have food is given. You don't have to worry about if you have financial issues, they will support you. So the whole idea is for you to be someone up there. But in our community, we want to bring everyone down. So that mindset, the strength we have to combine to create that kind of institution, and I believe, hopefully till the end of my lifetime, I will want to see that institution to be built in Malaysia, that we have this kind of institution where we can support our community in education, Punjabi education, Kirtan education, defense education, and different types of education as well. Even the worldly education, Guru Pyari Saad Sangat Ji. So that is where I end my a bit not so hard caller, hopefully.
Can.
Anji, I very much agree with Veer ji here, Sarab. Jo inhone kiya na, bahut sahi kiya. I just want to add a bit more. This is my belief. जो कुछ थोनू मिलना है ना जिंदगी दे विच वो मिल जाना and nobody can take away. Nobody is going to take away. ये जर्नी ना ये पहला परमात्मा ने लिखी हुई है ये की सेवा करनी की करना है सारा ना but we must be positive ना. देखो मैं भंगड़े विच रहा I was the manager for 30 years. हाँ जी मैं तबला सीखिया मैं वाजा सीखिया मैं गीत लिखने पढ़ने बोलियां पाउणियां बापू मेरा ज्ञानी सी वो कहंदा सी प्यो ज्ञानी आ ते पुत्त भंगड़े पाउंदा वा. This is what he said. Because why? Because लोकी कहंदे सी भाई तू ज्ञानी आ तेरा मुंडा भंगड़े पाउंदा. अज कौन भंगड़े पाउंदा? अज उन्हां दे बच्चे भंगड़े पा रहे ने. सो इसी वो मैं उत्थे सीगा. फिर मैं थोड़ी बाली पंजाबी सीखी स्कूल गया. सो मैं किताबां पढ़न लग गया. I did my बुद्धिमानी ज्ञानी परवेशकार की मैं. हाँ जी फिर मैनू फिल्मां दे काम मिल गया. I have done 11 movies in Malaysia. I did 6 Malay movies, 3 Tamil movies and 3 Punjabi movies. हुंडे कंपाउंड दे एक परिवार जिम दा प्यार just finished. हाँ जी एंड अकेडमी नू 15 साल हो गए ने. हाँ जी you see ते I used to go to Baba Pondu, Puran Singh Mala. He used to write poetries. We used to go at night. ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਨਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਸਿੱਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਪੋਲੀਟਿਕਸ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਕੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਸੀਗਾ. ਫੈਂਟੈਸਟਿਕ ਮੈਨ ਇੰਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ. ਉਹਦੀਆਂ ਕਵਿਤਾਵਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦਾ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਕਵਿਤਾਵਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਉਣੀਆਂ. ਯੂ ਸੀ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਵੈਰੀ ਵਾਸਟ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ. Very vast, so much experience that gave me a lot of help to run the academy. ਭਾਵੇਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਗੁਰਮਤ ਸੀ ਰਾਗ ਬੇਸ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਬੇਸ ਸੀ ਨਾ and I was well known. ਹਾਂਜੀ so this gave me lot of push from the back with my experience so that I could serve ਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੇ ਕਰਾਉਣਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਤੇ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨ ਜੋਗੇ ਨਾ. So because this journey was really fantastic. That I got opportunity to work with so many people. I got opportunity to work with foreign artists. हाँ जी ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਭੰਗੜੇ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਗੀਤ ਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਰਹੇ. So the opportunity was very great. So I got so much to learn. And yes, you know, I work with every society in Malaysia. I work with every Gurdwara in Malaysia. I think I work with each and every one in Malaysia. ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿ ਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਲ ਲੜਿਆ ਹੋਵਾਂ. That is very important. Unless we don't learn how to work, because ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਦੂਜੇ ਗਲਤ ਦਿਸਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਐਸੀ ਗਲਤ ਦਿਸਦੇ ਆ. So it's everywhere. But do we have a choice? Guru ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜਾ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਮੇਰਾ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਤੇਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ. So we need to work together. ਏਕਤਾ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ. We have differences, ਠੀਕ ਆ, fine. But I think we can sit and always come over.
That's wonderful. Veer, Manpal, would you like to say a few things to wrap up the session?
I think most of Sarab, Veerji and also Bhai Chamkaur ji has already said most of the things. But I think coming back to where we started from was, I think it was about the challenges of
your personal challenge in this journey.
Challenge
yes.
In the journey, and I would say that the journey never ends. You know, my teacher always says this. When you learn a rag, right, you can never say you have learnt it.
Okay.
Right? And he also says that before you even existed, 1,000 people have already sung it. 1,000 people are singing it now, and 1,000 people are going to sing it in the future. And no single version will be the same. There will be some variation. And the learning from that is dedication. A lot of discipline is needed. I think that's something that most of us have the challenge where, like, if you're tired, you know, you don't want to practice, you don't do your riyaz. But then, and then when you think about it, when you do kirtan, oh, I have to practice now. But I think coming back to, I think these are some of the challenges, and I think moving forward, what is important for Gurmat Sangeet to thrive more in Malaysia. I'm a product of the Punjabi school system. I'm also a product of academy, and I think one thing that both have said that is very important is the unity that we need. And moving forward, and a student of these two institutions is about appreciating what was learned and applying what was learned, and also propagating what we have learned to the rest of the Sangat. So we can level up the whole, our entire surroundings. I think that's very important. And I think one's journey in music, in kirtan, and also in Gurmat Sangeet, I think learning comes with, there are a lot of challenges, a lot of attributes you need to have. There are even times when my sister and I used to get it from his dad for not practicing. There were times when we used to get it from the Master Ji. Even once, I remember Uncle Chamkaur called us into the office once because you were not practicing. So that this was when I was probably still in primary school. So, but and these are some of the challenges. But we were also young, but I think the good thing is that, so all the attributes you have is like discipline, having the passion, having that curiosity, and the key thing to also develop is also trying to listen. I think for me, listening, trying to develop an ear to listen is also a very important thing. But I think what underlines it all is that if you love Kirtan, if you love the Guru, you will automatically grow in that, right? It's that saying that Charan Charan Guru ek pant jai chal, Sadguru कोट पेंडा आगे हो ही लेते हैं, right? So if you are interested in something, and if that's going to make you a more wholesome person, the Guru will come and pull your hand. Yeah, that's about it.
Sangatji, we've had a very insightful and meaningful conversation today, and it's our hope. Hanji, yes, please go ahead.
Actually, I want to tell Manpal, when I call him to the office, see tactic. मेरा नहीं जी करता किसी को कुछ कहना. My dear darling, but we have understanding. The teacher will say, "Na uncle, na munda practice नहीं करता." मैं क्या कर दूँ? मैं तो कान खींचता. So when he comes to office, I will try to threaten him, "La, you must practice." But and once you go back, then we have a good laugh.
Manpal, I hope now you know what happened. Now I hope you understand.
No, we love them so much, but sometimes we have no choice.
Yes.
किताब नहीं लियांदी, practice नहीं की, some of them कई बच्चे नहीं करते ना. देखो जो तो बच्चे होंगे हैं ना, not all are interested. Some have interest. Some parents force them to come because parents feel that future is there. बच्चे नु नहीं समझे ना. अन्य होर प्रोग्राम करने, स्विमिंग जाना, ये करना, वो करना, संगीत सीखो, ये करो, वो करो, so becomes very difficult for the child. है ना कुछ करने वाला होता है ना. So basically, apologize for scolding you.
Well, we still kept coming for the class.
So today we settled the score. Anji, okay, my last few words that one more thing मैं कहनी थी ना, देखो प्रॉब्लम थोड़ी जी हैगी आ भी बच्चे ना, क्योंकि देखो अज दा फॉरम अंग्रेजी विच क्यों, क्योंकि ऐसे सोचते हैं भाई बहुत जाने पंजाबी की समझ नहीं आनी नौजवानों, सो दे मे बी लैफ्ट आउट, सो फॉरम आप अंग्रेजी विच करिए. हाँ जी, सो जेडे बच्चे अकैडमी ते आ रहे ने या पंजाबियां स्कूल जा रहे ने, घरे पंजाबी मापे नहीं बोलते. मापे क्यों नहीं बोलते? क्योंकि मापिਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪ ਨਹੀਂ बोलनी आती. So they have their own difficulties, ला क्यों नहीं बोलनी होती है. So we're not blaming anybody. So एक प्रॉब्लम है. So ऐसे की करते हैं बच्चे ਨੂੰ ਮੂੰਹ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਇਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਰੋਮਨਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਦੇਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਸੀ. So because we have to start from somewhere. ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਇਹਦਾ ਇਹ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਿਖਾਉਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ. So I want to thank the नौजवान जिन्हें भी नौजवानों ने आज का प्रोग्राम लिखा ना, thank you so much for doing this. And from the academy ਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਬਲਾ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਫਿਰ ਵਾਜਾ ਅਤੇ ਤੰਤੀ ਸਾਜ਼, ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਾਜ਼ ਸਿਖਾਏ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ. ਵੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਚਾਹ ਹੋਵੇ, please get in touch with the academy. And we love you so much. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you. Anybody else has any final words? Veer, Sarab ji, Manpal ji?
All good.
Okay. Sangeet ji, thank you so much for taking out your precious time to join us today. I hope this is just the start of the conversation and deepening our love and connection for Gurmat Sangeet and the Guru and the Shabad. And it's our hope that we have more conversations like that and more people being involved in any form of Kirtan, as long as it's a matter of connection with your Guru, with the Shabad. And that's all we want from this. And which is why in the next half an hour or so, we will be starting off our Rag Darbar. It will be starting off at 6:30. Please bring your family, please bring your friends, and join us in for the Kirtan session. Before I wrap up, I just have to do some formalities and thank a few people. Firstly and foremostly, it's Gurdwara Sahib Sentul for facilitating this forum. Next is also the Sentul Nojwan, as well as the other Nojwans who are present today who have made this all happen. Of course, our streaming and video partner, Sikhinside, has also been very helpful. Sarab Musicals have also contributed to the audio equipment, and thank you for that. And last but not least, Sangeet ji, thank you for being present and making this all possible today. On a final note, perhaps we can end this off with one chakara. Bole Sonehal. Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Waheguru ji ki fateh.